Citadel Steep Landing. The Citadel was built very late in development, and initially we had no clear vision for its gameplay. This isn't uncommon. While game design usually drives our process, big creative choices we make early on, such as the existence of the Combined Citadel, need specific design work done to fit into the final product. After the previous chapter's climactic battle, we thought a different tone for the finale here in the Citadel would feel more rewarding, even if we wanted to raise the stakes. Creating new mechanics and NPCs was too risky this late. Our first plan was to make it a passive narrative spectacle, a train ride through the heart of the Combine war machine, ending in Breen's office. But after we developed that plan, we spent a few days prototyping super gravity gun mechanics, thinking that at the game's end, we could fulfill players' wishes by making them all-powerful, without disrupting the game design's overall balance. The results were immediately promising, leading to a quick redesign to incorporate the super gravity gun. Rather than traditional end-game challenges, we wanted the player to feel godlike, grabbing enemies at will, ripping consoles off walls. In the end, the Citadel blends these two concepts, alternating between spectacle and unleashed power.
Citadel Entrance. We built the route into the Citadel backwards. The interior geometry was created as an art prototype to perfect the look. We knew you were coming from the sewer pipe in our Street War map and had to create a section of slides and jumps into the Citadel entrance to connect them.
Lightmap Pass. The Citadel interior is relatively simple geometrically, but the combined metal material and the dramatic lighting help sell the immensity of the structure. Lightmap resolution was increased on important, interesting surfaces and reduced on ones that were fully shadowed or distant. Also, due to the large size of the Citadel spaces, unnecessarily large lightmap surfaces had a significant performance cost. Near the end of the development, there was a large pass done throughout the Citadel levels to optimize these values for visual interest and performance. This was made easier by a new feature added to the Hammer level editor that would display surfaces with their luxel density.
Unregistered weapons detected. Confiscation field engaged.
Weapon strip. Once we introduced the supergravity gun, we really didn't want players returning to their conventional weapons, so we did the only rational thing. We disintegrated them. It helps to have an inscrutable supernatural enemy like the Combine as the antagonist of your game, because it stands to reason that they could simply just have a disintegrator. Why not? And if, for some reason, we had needed you to have your loadout back in the middle of the level, wouldn't you know it, they also have a reintegrator.
So, this is Dr. Freeman. At last. I wish I could. Neither of surprise nor, as you will surely agree, very pleasant. I am nothing if not pragmatic.
Supergravity Origins. By this point in development, we were confident in the design of the gravity gun. We wanted to give the player a taste of feeling omnipotent, and set to work on making a supercharged version. It didn't take long, truly maybe a day of prototyping, before we had something we liked and it became the core of the gameplay of the Citadel. With our physics engine complete, we were free to find new and exciting ways to push it past its previous limits and yield whatever fun results came of it. Our prototype object, an ultra-heavy watermelon that weighed hundreds of pounds in our physics bin, ultimately became the Combine balls you experience in the game.
Dissolved weapon. All the Combine's weapons were set to dissolve after the Combine soldier was ragdolled with a gravity gun for 2 reasons. 1, so players wouldn't pick them up and use them, but also to improve the performance in these maps. Additionally, a ragdoll manager was added that would remove the fallen soldier ragdoll corpses as the player progresses forward.
Combine ball and balls training. In playtests, players were not noticing that the Combine spheres dissolved the soldiers and why they were disappearing. We initially tried to solve this by making the spheres prefer to bounce towards enemies to increase the likelihood of dissolving kills. We eventually realized that the reason players didn't notice the effect was because it always happened during intense combat, and people have a very limited ability to learn new things when under stress. As a late-effort remedy, we inserted a low-pressure training room with a force field that can only be opened by grabbing the Combine ball. This setup was added specifically to train how Combine balls work to deactivate force fields, and that punting it at the soldier would dissolve them. Even then, in the playtests, it was only moderately successful. Despite our efforts, some of the players still struggled to perceive the dissolving effects of the projectiles. We ran out of time and decided that since players were still telling us they were feeling powerful, it was okay if not all of them perceived why they were succeeding.
Combine energy. What started life as a watermelon in prototype form ended up turning into an energy ball after the sounds made for its impact and explosion sounded less like produce and more like what we have here in the game. Once we started iterating on levels that weren't watermelon-based, we realized we could use the energy ball not just as a fun way to kill soldiers, but also as a puzzle element for powering up and down various equipment. At a significantly later point in development, we were not liking the AR2 alt-fire we had at the time, and since the team liked the Combine ball, we ended up incorporating it right into the AR2 alt-fire. We always look back and are surprised at how the things we were working on independently of one another in the game come together late to solve problems.
Monologue. Creative work is never done in a vacuum, as we're all inspired by other things. Breen's monologue, that appears on the Citadel monitors here, got some inspiration from an earlier game we all love, Thief 2, in which the antagonist taunts the player while they're sneaking around. The execution is quite different, but the core inspiration is there. The real heavy lifting, however, what really sells this moment, comes from the performance by the late Robert Culp. His delivery was pitch perfect. He interpreted each of Breen's lines with a subtlety and flair that transformed the character on the page into something truly special. A voice session with Robert Culp was as easy as they come. He'd have the script, and the engineer would hit record, and that was about it. The lesson reinforced here is to work with people whose talent exceeds yours, people you're certain to learn from. Don't go in with a fixed idea of how the line should be delivered or how a certain moment should play out, but instead collaborate with talented people and go into it trusting that they'll make it even better.
Elevator fight. Even though we wanted the player to feel all-powerful, we couldn't resist the temptation of adding a tough fight with the elevator shaft. The battle waiting for the arrival of the elevator here ended up being somewhat more difficult than originally envisioned for this part of the game. It became easier during playtesting, but there really wasn't enough playtesting time to balance it to the level it should have been. Though the player was never in that much danger, it is the number of soldiers that appear that makes it feel like more of a climactic battle than it is.
Placing the prefabs. The Combine energy balls are a relatively simple setup, with a force field holding the perpetually bouncing objects. However, during playtesting, there were repeated bugs with the energy balls bouncing around, going rogue, and escaping the force field we set up to contain them. Due to the limits of our prefab tech at the time, this required them to be manually rebuilt multiple times at every one of their locations in all of the Citadel levels that included them.
For humanity's survival. And not as we have narrowly defined ourselves, but as something greater than we could ever imagine. Something we can now only begin to glimpse.
Strider fight. One of the original Citadel prototypes included being able to grab the Strider with a super gravity gun. And for a long time, the fight with the Strider was about getting close enough to grab him with the gun. Toward the end of development, we decided that grabbing the Strider made him feel too weak, especially after all the combat against them during Street War. So we replaced the encounter with one where you kill him with Combine balls. Model pieces were added so the Strider could be jibbed and blown apart instead of dragging its body around. This is the only time in the game when a Strider has this effect.
Getting in the pod. The pod ascension sequence that starts here necessitated taking full control of the scene and the player view. This is contrary to our usual desire to have the player retain as much control as possible. For this final step, we felt the trade-off was worth it. The player is so powerful at this point that controlling them was difficult, so we had to disable them. We do still have all the characters in the scene talking to the player, keeping them the center of attention. We also were able to provide some narration through the environment along the way. The train ride through the Citadel starting here contains several adversaries that we had art content for but were cut from the main part of the game. From the safety of your cozy pod, you can see the processing of stalkers and a quick glimpse of the crab synth.
I'll take him from here. Don't struggle, it's no use. Until you're where he wants you, there's nothing you can do. I'm sorry, Gordon.
Satellites colonized by sentient fungi, gas giants, inhabited by vast meteorological intelligences, worlds stretched thin across the membranes where the dimensions intersect. Impossible to describe with our limited vocabulary.
What I've seen is also beyond words, Breen. Genocide, indescribable evil. Good God.
Well, if it isn't Gordon Freeman at last. What's this? I'll put it over there. You have my gratitude, Doctor. First you lead me straight to the doorstep of my oldest friend, and then you deliver yourself? If I'd known you were going to come straight up to my office, I wouldn't have bothered hunting you in the first place. Having both of you in my keeping ensures I can dictate the terms of any bargain I care to make with the Combine.
Dr. Breen.
Huh.
Wallace.
Yes, Judith, what is it?
The bargain we should be making is for Eli's life so he can continue his research.
Thanks to you, we have everything we need in that regard. You're more than qualified to finish his research yourself. What neither you nor I can do is convince that rabble in the streets to give up their senseless struggle. Yet Eli refuses to speak the words that would save them all.
Save them? For what?
Eli, if you won't do the right thing for the good of all people, maybe you'll do it for one of them.
Alex, honey.
Dad. Gordon?
God damn you, Breen, you let her go.
That's all up to you, my old friend. Will you let your stubborn short-sightedness doom the entire species, or will you give your child the chance her mother never had?
How dare you even mention her?
Alex, my dear, you have your mother's eyes, but your father's stubborn nature.
You haven't seen a bit of it yet.
Really? Well, let's see how well it serves you on the far side of a Combine portal.
Go ahead, Breen. If that's the worst you can do, send us both through your portal.
Oh, it's hardly the worst. But you might find that hard to believe once you get there.
It isn't necessary.
I agree. It's a total waste. Fortunately, the Resistance has shown it is willing to accept a new leader. And this one has proven to be a fine pawn for those who control him.
No!
Don't listen to him, Gordon.
How about it, Dr. Freeman? Did you realize your contract was open to the highest bidder?
Gordon would never make any kind of deal with you.
I understand if you don't wish to discuss this in front of your friends. I'll send them on their way, and then we can talk openly.
Don't struggle, honey.
Dad, I'm so sorry.
Alex, sweetheart.
Judith, what do you think you're doing?
We're doing what I could never do alone. We're stopping you. Yes.
Guards, get in here! They know you betrayed them. They'll turn on you. Judith, Dr. Mossman, please!
I'm sorry, Wallace. You're all out of time. Don't... Hurry! Dad, hang on!
You fool!
Watch out, he's gonna...
No!
Oh, no. Don't worry about me, honey.
There's no time, Alex. He's on his way to the portal. You'll need this.
Dr. Mossman, Judith, look after my father.
Don't you worry.
Dad, I'm not saying goodbye.
Never.
Come on, Gordon. Let's go.
That's my girl.
I'm not leaving you again, Eli.
We better hurry.
Final scene. Locking the player in a pod for the final confrontation in Breen's office was a bit of a compromise, but it allowed for a focus on the characters that we really couldn't provide elsewhere. All of the characters' arcs reached their conclusions in this scene, and constraining the player to this point of view creates the opportunity for a real emotional payoff. A climactic scene powered by the combination of dialogue, voice performances, and animations. The scene was a challenge to pull off from a production standpoint, setting up the right blocking and motion, getting effective timing and emotional synergy and connection from all of the individual animations and vocal performances that were recorded separately. It took a lot of tuning before it reached some dramatic synergy and really felt like all of the characters were actually connecting.
Come on. Gordon, we haven't known each other very long, but I know you didn't have to do this. I had to rescue my father, but you... Well, thanks for coming after me.
It's me you should be considering.
Hey, listen.
I can still deliver.
That's him.
But not without your help. The portal destination is untenable. Surely you can set the relay elsewhere. There's no way I can survive in that environment. A host body? You must be joking. I can't possibly...
There he is.
Oh, all right. Damn it, if that's what it takes. Just hurry. He's right behind me. Oh, shit.
does he? I wonder where he's going. Oh my god. This is the Citadel's dark fusion reactor. It powers their tunneling entanglement device. We'll never have a chance like this again. We've got to stop Dr. Breen. I can't shut it down. Looks like he's turned over control to the other side. You'll have to go into the core and do what you can. Get in the elevator and I'll let you know. Don't forget to charge up your suit. Do your worst, Gordon. But be careful.
Endgame Scramble. There was originally a significantly larger choreography scene slated for the end of the game. However, the choreo team was very busy with the huge amount of storytelling work remaining throughout the game. To take some of the work off their plate, the Citadel Gameplay Cabal was asked to instead create a gameplay challenge to wrap up the game. It could be a puzzle, combat, anything. The resulting Breen boss battle leveraged existing super gravity gun game mechanics and a small amount of custom choreography to create a finished product in a very short amount of time.
It's Dr. Breen. There he is.
Dr. Freeman, you really shouldn't be out there. At the moment of synapse, as I teleport, this chamber will be bathed in deadly particles that have yet to be named by human science. Perhaps when I have the leisure to do the work myself, I'll name one of them after you. That way you won't be completely forgotten. When the singularity collapses, I will be far away from here, in another universe, as a matter of fact. You, on the other hand, will be destroyed in every way it is possible to be destroyed, and even in some which are essentially impossible. I don't know what you can possibly hope to achieve apart from your own annihilation.
Don't listen to him, Gordon.
I warned you this was futile.
He's bluffing, Gordon. Don't listen to him. Started his ascent. Hurry, Gordon, before he escapes. Keep going.
I could have told you that was pointless, Dr. Freeman.
Go, Gordon.
Are you still with us, Dr. Freeman? Not for much longer, I think. If only you had harnessed your boundless energy for a useful purpose.
Combine portal effects. A key part of our development process is the way that any team member can contribute their skills to any part of the game. Once the final battle gameplay was solid, artists and visual effects programmers helped elevate the presentation of the portal to the Combine homeworld and the stop time effect at the very end of the game. A refractive shader similar to what we use for water was used for the Combine portal effect.
Come on, Gordon. We've got to get out of here. Maybe we still have...
Time, Dr. Freeman? Is it really that time again? It seems as if you only just arrived. You've done a great deal in a small time span. You've done so well, in fact, that I've received some interesting offers for your services. Ordinarily, I wouldn't contemplate them, but these are extraordinary times. Rather than offer you the illusion of free choice, I will take the liberty of choosing for you, if and when your time comes round again. I do apologize for what must seem to you an arbitrary imposition, Dr. Freeman. I trust it will all make sense to you in the course of... well, I'm really not at liberty to say. In the meantime, this is where I get off.
Lamar? Lamar! Blast that little... Where did she get to?